He is a man who has weathered many a storm. Until 2002, he was viewed by many as retired President Moi's heir apparent after holding the vice president's job for 13 years. But it was this moment in 2002 when Moi bypassed him for a political greenhorn Uhuru Kenyatta that Professor Saitoti's presidential hopes seemed to go up in smoke. But he is back and has thrown his heart into the ring. He wants to be your fourth president.
Mnataka kusikia kwa mdomo wangu? Ndio. Mwaka ujao nitakuwa pale nikitafuta kiti. Ama mnataka nitoke nyuma? Nitakuwa pale nikitafuta hiyo kiti.
Born in 1945, Professor Saitoti is an accomplished academician and technocrat. He studied at Mangu High School and proceeded to Brandeis University for his undergraduate studies. In 1972, he earned a doctorate in mathematics from the University of Warwick. His thesis was on algebraic topology. Since retired President Moi plucked him from the University of Nairobi lecture rooms, Professor Saitoti has headed various ministries, among them finance, education, planning and national development, internal security, and recently foreign affairs, though in an acting capacity.
Elibu sabini kwa vice president, elibu sabini moja kwa mheshimiwa, sabini mbili kwa vice president.
But it is his 13-year stint as the country's second in command during the KANU rule that Professor Saitoti is easily identified with. However, analysts are of the opinion that it was a tag that he could need to shrug off as he mounts his presidential bid.
Much as he would want people to forget, I am not sure that will be easily forgotten, that he was in KANU at the epitome of its autocratic rule. He was the number 2 then. That is one of his main disadvantages.
And at one point he was, publicly dressed down by his boss. And the dressing down was that, he was not the right material to, succeed Moi. And so he could not pass his baton to him because somebody else was better than him. As to whether he's going to be able to come out of that and basically state that he's his own man and that was a dictatorial regime, it depends on how he packages his campaign as we move towards 2012.
That Professor Saitoti is a man of financial means and vast political networks within the country and even beyond the borders is not in doubt. This, according to analysts, is an outright advantage in his quest for the presidency next year.
As they say, money is the mother's milk of politics. Given the fact that politics is not your picnic excursion, it's a very expensive affair. And the two gentlemen who Saitoti seems to have a good positioning in as far as resources to oil his campaign is concerned.
Age could also play a key role in determining the country's fourth president. With a sustained push for generational change politics by the younger presidential hopefuls, what then are 66-year-old Professor Saitoti's chances?
But if you look at this country's history, it would appear that age has never been so much of a factor. Kibaki was elected into office for his first time in office as a septuagenarian, and Moi left office as a septuagenarian. He was in his late 70s.
Age for me in Africa is never a big deal. We saw what happened to Zambia the other day. A person who had contested for 4 times, lost, very old, and he got in.
Professor Saitoti's alleged involvement in the multi-billion shilling Goldenberg scam is yet another factor that could determine the direction of his presidential ambitions.
In as much as George Saitoti has been cleared by the courts with regard to Goldenberg, I think the genie basically is still alive and still hangs ominously above his head, and he has to very craft a way, or basically removing the tag, which apparently is so wired in the public psyche.
The Internal Security Minister has variously been deemed as a politician with a multifaceted persona. Whether he's from the Maasai community or the Kikuyu community is a question he has evaded all along.
PNU!
Despite being referred to in some quarters as George Kinothia Mutengi, these, according to analysts, could yield mixed results.
This could be his trump card, basically, to project himself as a nationalist and perhaps a candidate who does not really suffer from the ethnic baggage.
He doesn't seem to have very good roots in Rift Valley. Neither does he have very good roots in Central Province. That is both an advantage when you are, for example, when you are fighting against tribalism. But when you want that solid support, then it becomes a big disadvantage.
That President Kibaki has a soft spot for Saitoti is evident when the Internal Security Minister received a dress down from First Lady Lucy Kibaki over his performance and utterances after the Sachangwan fire tragedy. The president was quick to defend him.
He told us that this tragedy will teach us a lesson. How can dead people be taught a lesson?
I wish to assure my Minister for Security, the Honorable George Saitoti, that I have full confidence in him.
If Kibaki was left to his accord to make a decision in as far as who is going to succeed him, Saitoti would be the most preferable candidate for Kibaki. Right now, he's been able to accommodate Uhuru Kenyatta because of the pressure of the Central Province, and more so, for that matter, the Kikuyu community, who would want to see that Uhuru or Kibaki basically passes the baton to Uhuru Kenyatta.
Though he shuns controversy and cuts the figure of an amiable politician, Saitoti can play hardball when circumstances arise. A case in point was during the Kajiado North parliamentary seat contest in 2007.
Then why don't you agree that somebody has?
Let me tell
whether
you,
it's anybody, whether it's Moses or you or whoever.
I shall not accept something that I have not seen.
When he faced off with ODM's Moses Ole Sakuda.
So he's a man who is very calculating. That's a big advantage in politics. Keeping one's cards very close to their chest is another big advantage in politics.
But before he can confirm his name on the presidential ballot paper next year, Professor Saitoti will have to work out his mathematics in the PNU Alliance's nomination matrix for its flag bearer. Here, he is expected to face off with, among others, Deputy Prime Minister Uhuru Kenyatta and Vice President Kalonzo Musyoka. Can he manage to outmuscle them for the PNU Alliance slot? The jury is out. Francis Gachuri for the Countdown 2012 series.